less and make more. I'm going to encourage everyone here to take the RENE course, Real Estate Negotiation Expert course. It is one of the best courses that you can take, not for the designation or certification, but so you can learn what good negotiation skills are, so you can see what a good negotiation is. Maybe it's not a win-win, maybe it's not a win-lose, maybe it's just the fact that you asked or that you posed some questions. So after we've pitched listings, negotiated contracts, our next highest dollar producing activity is prospecting. It is lead generation. Where are you putting that in your calendar? If the old saying was an hour of power or a power hour, then it went to 2 hours of power. My question is, have you done at least, do you do at least 30 to 45 minutes of prospecting or lead generation every day? Every day, dollar producing activity. If we did less of the bad stuff, more of the right stuff, so we could do less activities overall. But if we are pitching listings or buyers, so consultations, negotiating contracts, and then lead gen, those are our 3 dollar producing activities. How much time lead generation have you spent in the past week? How much time negotiating contracts? How many consultations have you had? Those 3 things. If we get all of those numbers up, we don't have to get the numbers up for how many home inspections we went to, how many hours or social media posts we did, how many phone calls we had with other business owners. Prospecting or lead gen, negotiating contracts, and then consultations. If we increase all of those, we are going to increase our business. We're going to do fewer activities, but we're going to be making more money. This right here, what's the one, well, let me go back. Well, let me just ask this. What's the one thing that would have the greatest impact on your productivity? You probably know it right now. What's the one thing that would have the greatest impact on your productivity? So this idea right here, so we've heard that the 5 people we spend the most time with are going to be who we end up being like, right? Show me your friends and I'll show you I'll show you your future. So we've heard that. But Coach John Wooden, it was a 3x5 idea. So he has this 3x5 idea that we're going to look at right now, and I just want you to think about this. Who are the 5 people? Now this list here is important. Who are the 5 people that you spend the most time with professionally? Maybe it's going to be your business partner, your office manager, your broker, another colleague. Who are the 5 people that you spend the most time with professionally? We're going to do the same thing personally. This is probably going to be family or very close friends. And then just in a social environment, who are the people that you spend the most time with? And then that's the easy part. Now we have 2 difficult parts as we start to build these systems. The first one is, next to each person that you spend time with professionally, personally, and socially, LDE, limit association, disassociate, or expand that association. Who right now professionally are you spending time with that maybe you need to spend less time with? Who do you need to totally disassociate with? And which of these people do you need to spend more time with? Maybe there is a mentor or a colleague in your office. Maybe there's a lender that's just really good and you need to expand your relationship with them. Maybe there are some people that you're with professionally, personally, or socially that you need to totally disassociate yourself with. Now the L, the limit, is the tough one. This is the one where we don't really know if we should limit, disassociate, expand. So when we talk about the L, there is this idea that was posed, and it's the idea of walking with someone in the park. And when we are walking with someone in the park, one of 2 things happens. One, you either slow down to walk at their pace, or they adjust to walk at yours. And so I'm going to ask you, in your professional, personal, and social circles, who's dictating the pace of life? in your business? Who's dictating the pace at which you progress or you slow down? Are you saying, I'm running at this pace? Anyone who wants to run with me, they need to catch up. And here's the hard part. If someone is slowing you down, I'm going to ask you, do you need to help them improve? Do you need to limit your association? Or do you need to disassociate with them altogether? And then on that list, we see this E for expand. Who are the people that maybe in your professional life you need to expand relationships with? Maybe you don't know them right now. Maybe it's someone that you saw from a distance and at the association, and you're like, man, I think she's really cool, or I think that she is knowledgeable, or he is connected, he wants to share. Maybe you could write those in your expand list. In the personally list, maybe it's going to be that you need to expand your relationship with your significant other or your kids or a very close friend. Maybe you have started to drift apart, but they make you better, and now you're starting to realize that. Now, what we do find in the social part, the social and personal, they all have ties and impacts on each other, but we find that the personal impacts the professional the greatest. Social impacts personal the greatest, right? So it's those that are closest to us personally, they're going to have an impact on us professionally. Those that we're close to socially are going to have a personal impact on us. Our loved ones are going to impact how we do business. Our friends, or the people we hang out with when we're not working, or with our family and close ones, they're going to impact our personal relationships. These are the ones that are going to give us advice, good or bad, on our personal relationships and the interaction. Typically, we don't see as much of an impact on our social with our professional, right? So there are levels. So we just want to think about that. Limit, disassociate, or expand our relationship. So we want to think about that as we're moving from where we are to where we want to be. This is going to be one of those systems. So I asked earlier, what's the one thing that will have the greatest impact on your productivity? For some of us already, we know prospecting or lead gen. For some of us, we just know we have to do more face-to-face consultations. Now, when I say face-to-face consultations, it could be learning or doing this right here, where we're doing a Zoom consultation. As we're talking about our productivity mastery, let me ask you, have any of you in the past month or month and a half practiced or rehearsed your buyer consultation or your marketing consultation via video? Have you gotten on Zoom, put your headphones in, got your lighting right, and walked through what it takes to buy or sell a home in this market? Have you gone through and practiced when there was no money on the line? Because for us to be more productive, for us to do less and make more, we need to increase our ratios. How do we increase our ratios? We practice. We know how to navigate and move the mouse. We know where to find certain things on the MLS or on realtor.com. I'm sorry, floridarealtors.org. Maybe it's nar.realtor. We know where to pull these articles from Greater Tampa talking about inflation, the interest rate, or the inventory. Right? We want to make sure that we're spending our time doing those dollar producing activities. So maybe the greatest influence, the greatest positive push for your productivity could be practice. Maybe it could be learning those market stats and those metrics. It could be going in and getting face to face with other business owners. For us, I know one of my greatest boons for productivity is just interviewing other professionals. I've sat down with lenders, insurance, home inspectors during this market that we're in. Hey, what are you seeing? Michelle is a fantastic resource. What if you all came to Michelle, say, Michelle, I need 15 minutes of your time so I can interview you. I'm going to share some common tips, best practice, or I'm going to ask you to share some common tips, best practices for buyers or sellers when it comes to home inspections. What should they be afraid of? What are we seeing that is a big issue? Maybe you have a property insurance person do a quick 15-minute call with you right here on Zoom, and that's a way that you practice. What if the greatest impact on your productivity could be putting up a do not disturb sign while you're prospecting or while you're working, only 90 minutes at a time? Could we do any of that? I believe that all of us are capable. So let's see what Jim Rohn had to say. Jim Rohn says this saying, or he said this saying, don't let your mouth overload your back. I don't know if any of you are guilty of that, but I know I am. Don't let your mouth overload your back. Aren't we guilty of saying yes too soon? This is why we want to build that no system. And so here's how we can build the no system that we're going to look at. So we want to do less stuff and focus more on high dollar activities or dollar producing activities, DPAs. For my craft beer drinkers, I'm going to say IPA, but I am not talking about beer. Either dollar producing activities or income producing activities. We just talked about 3 of the big ones. Let's look at how many yeses have you said that said no to a dollar producing activity. There are only 2 things that happen. If you say yes to one thing, you have to say no to something else.